Hi, I'm Nathan Oakley, and in this video I want to address a couple of things that have just been niggling at me today. I don't know why, but you get a bee in your bonnet for a few different things and you just want to kind of get them out there and to a wider audience, maybe for the comments, maybe to be told you're wrong, who knows. But I'll give some specific examples, and I'll preface this by saying that I'm not in any way putting down the channels that I'm going to talk about, quite the reverse. So I've discussed this in some of the chat rooms, and I had to sort of say it in there because when you put stuff in a chat feed and you're typing away, often you can seem like your negativity is detracting from a channel that you actually want to promote. So the first thing I'm going to discuss is something that happened on You've Been Exposed. So big shout out, big smile to Big Dread, who does a fantastic job on that channel. I'm going to even put a link below, so go and subscribe to him immediately. That'll lead me on to my next point, but point number one, we'll hopefully not get too sidetracked in this video. So point number one, in You've Been Exposed, there was a Globehead who went on. If you're watching, hopefully you'll comment below. I don't know how widespread this video will get, but we'll see. So if you're watching that piece, you would have seen somebody go on who was a Globe enthusiast. Everything he phrased was, this is how it is. So he'd be asked how the seasons worked and explained the heliocentric model, but he didn't preface it by saying in the heliocentric model they say that the Earth is tilted. He just quoted it as though it was fact. So he's a full-on Globehead, just so you've got some background. And he asked the panel about the ISS, and they immediately said, yeah, of course it's fake. And the way they're wired, they're all thinking in their minds about the TV pantomime that we see that is called the ISS live stream. Now that isn't the ISS. The ISS is the light in the sky, and again I'll put another link below, which is to the video I made only recently about this very issue. And the issue is as follows. He asks about the ISS, and he's seen the live stream and ties that into the light in the sky, and he can go out and physically observe that. So his response to anything they would have said, and anything they did say, was to say, I've seen it. I've seen the ISS. Now they can give their ad hoc explanations, which say it could be a hologram, and to say that they can, good enough argument, they can track the moon, the sun and all the stars. Now that would be to assume that it's a wandering star also, but really we have absolutely no idea what the ISS is, and it's not the thing falling under close scrutiny, which was the point I made in the video that I will link below. So rather than coming up with ad hoc explanations for the light in the sky, we should be giving it much closer scrutiny. As I said in the other video, there's a few people who are looking at it and they're not really, they're not even flat earthers. But what we have to accept is, for that guy, once that response had been met with, it could be a hologram, you know, just some crappy ad hoc explanation for what the light in the sky is, the thing he holds as proof, the thing that leads him to say, you know, we're tilted towards the sun, that's what gives us our seasons. The reason he has all of these preconceived notions about what the Earth is, they hang on the fact that he can see with his own two eyes and track something that matches up with the data that NASA give us for that light in the sky, which is extremely unfortunate. Now I've rambled on about You've Been Exposed, and ultimately anytime you talk about another channel, this leads me on to point number two, you're lending it publicity. So on Flat Out Elected, he recently did a wonderful show with Patricia Steer. Again, I'll even link that so you go and subscribe to him. I don't want this to seem like I'm being negative towards that channel. Not at all. Go and have a look, subscribe, like, wonderful, all of that sort of stuff. But I went to his channel to see the next live stream, and he's watching a guy called, there you go, you don't know who, and you're never going to, because I didn't mention his name, and I'm not going to give any more credibility to a channel that I don't want to promote. In other words, I'm not going to talk about it. The ultimate way to never give credibility to another channel is to not watch it at all, then it's never part of your cognition. In other words, it's no contact ever again. This isn't in reference to Psychopaths, but it works with anything that meets with your disapproval. You have the power. You can choose not to engage with anything that you dislike. So if you find that you have a channel that you simply don't like, banging on and on and on about them isn't going to help you alleviate your pain, whatever that's been caused by, in terms of YouTube and that channel. But yeah, ultimately, whenever you go and simultaneously broadcast their live feed and talk about them, it's just going to give them a free advert. A point that I was trying to make in Flat Earth Elected's live stream. So he was simulcasting somebody else's stream and moaning about them. So I went, right, I'm sick of this, and went and subscribed to the channel he was moaning about, knowing full well that he'd be watching the chat feed go up, as I, tried to do my best to, address some of the issues that I actually knew had taken place from the information I'd got from Flat Out Elected's stream. So, while I have still got some empathy for the situation, it's still a reality that he gained a subscriber tonight as a direct result of Flat Out Elected simultaneously broadcasting him and saying that, that he shouldn't be paid attention to, in essence, although those weren't his exact words. So anyway, yeah, my first point being that realistically, if you want to convert a globe head, we have to accept there are certain things that we just don't know. And where we don't know, it's not an embarrassment to me. I find that fantastic. The childlike wonder of not knowing stuff is much better than the heliocentric brainwashing and programming that told me that I knew everything. Not that I ever thought that I knew everything, but you had an answer should you care to look for it, and it was very easy to acquire, almost too easy. That said, we still pay for all of our access to this information, and we pay for our television sets and our equipment to program us, which is probably a subject for another day. I may as well give a plug to the next show that I'm going to be doing. So on Sunday I'll do another show. It seems to always fall in the same time slot. It's not intentional. I seem to end up getting a smaller audience when I end up simultaneously broadcasting at the same time as other shows. But unfortunately, I just book these shows when the person that I'm trying to book is available. So on Sunday I'll be chatting with Subtle Infinity, and that will get a little advert. I'll do a proper full, minute-long advert or a quick snippet, maybe 15 seconds, just telling you the time and date and who and when and what and all the rest of that good stuff, just to plug that particular show. But I might as well mention it here, just so, again, I'll put a link. There'll be lots of work for me after this video. So yeah, I might not do it this evening. It's pretty late here. It's 1:30 in the morning. So I'll put a few links tomorrow, but I'll publish this video tonight, so you'll still get to hear about these channels, and hopefully that'll be enough for the keen enthusiasts who hear something that they find exciting about the channels that I've said, as opposed to very negative. But yeah, it's one that, if I don't make these sorts of video logs, these things niggle at me, and I end up turning into some nasty monster going into people's chats and trolling them to all hell. And I don't want to do that. I'd much rather put a video out like this, because it means those channels get a mention at the very least, which is kind of point number 2. I'm going to promote these people by talking about them, and I want these channels to do well. I want everybody who's promoting good information to do well. And this might not have come across in the last couple of videos when I'm telling people about enabling others by promoting them when they are causing trouble or displaying bad behaviour. And this is still ultimately true when it comes to people who've got narcissistic personality disorder and are incurable of their bad behaviour. Those sorts of people need to be cut adrift. And this might be something that I do address on a future show, based on something that a friend of mine, Dina Walker, has explained to me a couple of times when we've discussed the subject of psychopaths. And that is to say that in her community, this goes further. I've read other accounts of this as well, but it was nice to have it firsthand. When this type of person, the 5% in the Western world that are psychopaths, are encountered in her community, the way that it would be dealt with was with shunning. They would be ostracised. They would, because they were no good for the community, and the only way to deal with them was to have a sort of a disconnect, a pushing away of these people. And this is identical in terms of the concept. No contact ever again. This is the thing that all of the people on YouTube who are promoting a way of getting away from psychopathic people, or narcissistic people, most of them seem to describe it with that label. Thomas Sheridan would be ashamed, I'm sure, but is to have no contact ever again with them. So it's kind of I've come full circle. It ties in nicely. You don't have to have any contact with the people that frustrate you and get under your skin, and the more attention you pay them, the more publicity you're ultimately going to be giving to them. So that was kind of my first point, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll round it out there before we go around in a full circle again. I've been Nathan Oakley. I'll see you in the next video.